Hello, everybody. Today we talk about innovation. I actually think it's one of the most important things that we've ever talked about. One of in the business world. And the main reason is because innovation is what makes the difference between a great organization and a good organization. But even most importantly, one that is profitable and performs over the longer term than one that doesn't. You see, I think that the one factor that differentiates a successful organization, success in terms of profitability and even productivity, is their ability to innovate. And why? The first reason, and there's a number, but the first reason may surprise you. It's because the customer demands it. We often think it's because of the ability to take a product and make it better. We think it's because we want to be more efficient in our organization or we want to be more effective. And all those are certainly reasons. But at the top really is a person we call the customer. So why is the customer the main driver of innovation? It's because, first of all, an organization wants a customer because if you have a customer, you have somebody to sell something to. And secondly is the differences associated with the customer. A customer is bored because and becomes dismissive of something that's current. They want something new, different. They want something that no one else has. They want a feature, if not an entire product or service, that doesn't exist. They get enamored by something that doesn't exist, and now maybe it's a niche, or maybe somebody else doesn't have it, and they want it. They want that new feature on a car, or they want that new aspect, that new type of feature on clothes that maybe didn't exist. They demand companies to give them something different. Hopefully it's better, but they want something different. That uniqueness is common, actually, to at least the American public. The uniqueness is common. Isn't that an interesting phrase? It is, but I think it's true. They want something that is unique to them, that no one else has, as I mentioned just a couple minutes ago. By common, it means that everybody wants it. So it's a trait, it's a characteristic, it's an ambition that's common to the populace. So organizations, if they want to be successful over the long term, have to innovate. Facebook's a great example. Facebook started as a marketplace for conversation. Most people understand that Facebook was an extension of what they call our Facebook, of MySpace. MySpace started. But Facebook had some innovative aspects associated to it, and they quickly dominated. But they realized that the basic nature of Facebook, which was this conversation marketplace, wasn't going to last for the long term. So they bought a host of companies, including Instagram. And even from there, they haven't stopped being an innovative company. They're putting quite a bit of money into reality and aspects that show that the reality of today may not be the reality of tomorrow. Billions of dollars are being spent into this dream, it is a dream, of having this reality-based approach that they can promote on their spaces, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, whatever it is. We call it virtual reality, which is not reality, but it's this kind of pseudo-reality. They think that's going to be the future. Is it? We don't know. But the point is they have to continually innovate. Apple's another innovative company. They didn't start at iPhone 1. I think they're up to 14 or 15 now. They're continually improving their iPhone. And I guess at some point the iPhone isn't going to exist anymore. It'll still be a phone that you can make conversations with, but I don't think it's going to be a handheld one. We see that they're testing where people wear bands, and those bands have a light. That light can show on your arm, and you're actually going to have a phone on your arm without anything more than just a plastic band. Whether that works over the long term, who knows? In fact, if this video is up long enough, it may look historical in that some years ago, Dean was talking about that they're going to have this new innovative way to make a telephone call where you don't even need your phone. If that occurs, can you imagine the billions and billions of money Apple won't make in relation to the phone, because the band can't be that expensive or that difficult to produce. It would be a plastic band, certainly with some information on the inside of it. It certainly wouldn't take the thousands of people to build the phone that it would for this band that goes on your arm. Innovation. Companies realize that with a public, a customer, who demands innovation, you're going to have to figure out a way that you constantly and continually create different aspects of your current product or create new products as well. I often talk about, again, Apple back in the day, which came out with the MP3 player, which is where you can buy a player of some sort that housed your music. Well, eventually they created the iPhone, and they realized that we can't have a separate product that plays just your music and then a product that you can use for your phone. We need to put them together. It cannibalized, it eliminated that one product that made them billions of dollars that people were able to carry around all of their songs on. Now you just carried one. I believe that original product was called the iTouch. So they combined the iTouch to the iPhone. They actually eliminated a product. But that's good, because if they didn't do that, some other company would have came up with a way to combine your music playlist with your telephone playlist. It was innovative, and over time we see that it was also profitable. The iPhone continued to innovate and eliminate many products, many of which they don't own. For instance, wristwatches. Many people don't wear a wristwatch anymore. They just rely on their iPhone. There's so many other innovations within the iPhone that eliminated products, especially in the home. Alarm clocks is just one. We've seen the drastic fall of alarm clocks because people just use their phone to use as an alarm clock. That's why we create apps. We create apps so that we can eliminate other products that we've used. Of course, many of you are thinking, well, what's another one besides the alarm clock? And the easiest one is the GPS. MapQuest and Google Maps have eliminated the need to actually buy a map or to get a navigation system within your car. So I mentioned that there's a number of reasons why companies innovate, and first is the customer. And the second is even more dire. It's just survivability. So it's the customer and survivability. And we talk so much about, if you don't innovate, then your product, like the iTouch, is going to be eliminated. You want to eliminate your product before somebody else does. You want to eliminate your product by creating a different product that does make your previous product obsolete, but creates something new for you to sell. There's one other reason why innovation is really the focus of organizations today, and that is it's just fun. It's just fun to create something new and different. It's fun to use your mind in a way that other people don't use, maybe their hands or their feet. To actually sit in a chair without reading and just think. We don't do that as much anymore. I was actually reading yesterday that about 25% of the American public doesn't even open up a book each year. 25%. Not a Kindle, not an online book, not a physical book. They don't even open a book, let alone read it. 25% of the population. And it's so much fun to do so. It's so much fun to read, which is where I got that statistic, about something that does exist, something that may exist, or to think in your own mind what could exist better. There's fewer, more intriguing ways to spend your time than to think about something in a way that hasn't been thought before. I've written over 10 books in my life so far, hope to write more. And there's nothing more exhilarating than publishing a book that doesn't exist with a thought that's new and innovative. Doesn't mean it's going to sell tremendously. Doesn't mean that it's going to make a person famous. But to come up with something that doesn't exist, a philosophy, a theory, that you believe encourages people to change their prisms, to change the way that they have thought about an issue or a person or a place, that expands their horizons, that maybe offers a different path or journey that one can take. So we've talked about a number of reasons why innovation is really not just important, but so invigorating. From maintaining customers, which is a key, from being able to survive as as an organization, which is key, but also it's fun, which is not just key, but really is the driver for life. If you can't go through life and have fun at what you do, there's really no reason that you should do so. Why not have fun? The alternative is so much worse. So those are the three reasons that we need to innovate. There's also others, of course, but those are the three general reasons. I doubt many books would talk about, oh, the reason you have to innovate is because of the customer and because you have to survive as an organization, and then it's just fun. Instead, we often talk about more theoretical, process-oriented reasons of maybe why we should innovate and how we should innovate. The rest of our discussion is how we need to innovate. And here is a scheme that someone came up with, his name's Kaniki, about how to create an innovative system. As you can see, it offers 7 strategies or processes in total that you need to follow in order to have an innovative type of organization. I do enjoy looking at so many of these aspects because, first of all, most people aren't going to remember them. And second of all, I don't think they're that important. My idea, my innovative thought. See what you come up with. So let's talk about first that you have to have the resources. I don't think appropriate resources are appropriate. I think any person sitting in a chair with the lights off and the TV off can be just as innovative as a system itself. Is it appropriate that you have the resources of time? Of course. That you have some money so that you can create the time to be more innovative? Of course. But resources aren't as important. So that's one that I wouldn't necessarily utilize in this chart. My idea doesn't mean his isn't as good or better. Second is innovative strategy. Do you need that? Not really. You need some type of strategy. A strategy, as we know, talks about where you are, where you want to go, and how you get there is the strategy. Do you need an innovative strategy in order to be innovative? I don't think necessarily. Again, strategy and innovation, both those terms. Innovation is where you want to go. Strategy is how to get there. An innovative strategy can be created through your own mind at nearly any place. Lying in bed at the end of the day for 10 minutes and thinking about what if we do this, what if we do that? That's an innovative strategy. Committed leadership within an organization, you may need it, but I don't think it's one of the most important. All leadership needs to do is to reward those that have these stupendous, these unbelievable, unheard of ideas. As long as they reward those types of individuals, that's about all you need from committed leadership. An innovative culture and climate, this is the first one I would say that can be quite successful in an organization. By an innovative culture and climate, we mean that is there a place where you can build upon the ideas that you have, called serendipity. Few individuals have that idea that is so complex and comprehensive in its generation that it doesn't need anybody else to build upon it. organizations that can take an idea and build upon it within others can take a good idea and make it a great idea. Of the 4 we've talked about thus far, that's the one that I would start with. Required structures and processes, to me, it's the same as an innovative culture and climate. If you create the right structures and processes, that creates the right culture and climate. Necessary human capital, it's the same as appropriate resources. Human capital is a resource that you need. And then human resources, policies, practices, and procedures, to me, that comes into innovative culture and climate. So of the 7 that we see on this chart, the one that I would highlight the most is innovative culture and climate. The interesting aspect of the one that I highlighted is that that is a conclusion, or it's part of some process. It's not the originator. What's important is you start with the idea, and then you hope you're in a system that's somewhat supportive of it. Some may say, well, doesn't that include the other circles? My point would be, if you're not in that type of system, take your idea somewhere else. A friend of mine talks about innovative capital, and she talks about intellectual capital. And what she means is that your idea is as good and as important to you as a car, a house, or the money in your bank. It is what you have that is worthy. Never give away your intellectual capital if you don't get anything in return. So if you're working in an organization that doesn't have this kind of innovative culture and climate, which means it's a place where people not just request, not just require, and not just demand, but absolutely and positively expect that every person working in that organization is going to think about how they can make that organization better. Not just different, which is a part of it, but better. That's innovation. The number one aspect that an organization must require of its employees and of anybody that does business with that organization, which we call stakeholders, is that they continually and constantly dream ideas, dream concepts that make the organization different and better. And you do that by creating this culture and climate that says that that's what we expect. Yes, we expect you to do your job, but we also expect you to think about better ways to do your job, different ways to do your job, and hopefully ways that you don't need to do your job anymore, but you do a different job. That's an innovative system, and that results in innovation. Again, it comes from the customer. It comes from an idea that survivability is at stake if you don't have an innovative culture. And lastly, it's absolutely fun. I want to work and be in a place where we do the impossible, where we think of the unknown. That is what keeps people young. That is what keeps an organization important and vibrant. And that's what makes the world better today than it was yesterday. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the conversation.